Good morning again, dear listener. Once again, this is Lyons, and welcome to what I'm calling Raven Insight. I realized yesterday when I posted the video for the first time, my first video, I had to come up with a name for the channel and some branding. So I'll go into why I chose that name in another video. It's really not important, but I had to come up with something, so Raven Insight it is, and we'll talk about Odin and the symbology of the ravens and that kind of stuff, and down the road. That's a filler talk. That's nothing important. I did want to show you what a beautiful, wonderful day it is here in upstate New York. It is beautiful up here. It isn't always a snowy hellscape, so I figured why not do the video out in the outside and the environment and the sunshine and the bright spring air rather than in a closed garage, right? So spring, time for new beginnings, light, it goes with the theme. It all makes sense to me. And today I am quite grateful. I am quite proud of myself because if you're seeing this video, that means that I've posted this video, which means I've now posted 2 videos. And 2 is more than 1. That's twice the amount that I did the first day. And 2 is an infinite amount more than 0. So that means I'm doing something. And again, it doesn't really matter what it is. Maybe I'm talking to myself. Maybe the universe has me doing this to force me into some sort of therapy for myself. Or perhaps there's only one listener out there in the world who needs to hear my particular message the way I particularly say it. And for that person, glad you're here. Thank you. And for the typical YouTube audience, as everyone has to say, if you like the content, subscribe for more, give me a like, helps engagement, comment, just, please be nice. We're trying to start a nice community here, and there's really no need for negativity. There's so much in the world. Lastly, apologize for having to wear the sunglasses, but in order to get the light right and the river in the background, I'm staring directly into the sun, so it's a little distracting, but that's neither here nor there. So, now that we're here, what should we talk about? Well, last time, in the introductory to this, I spoke about my own journey and what got me going on this and how it started and where I'm at and the purpose of the channel, etc., etc. All that fun stuff, that intro stuff, okay? So that's about me, but now I want to start kind of giving back to you, right? And where do you start a journey? You start at the beginning. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. My video last time was my first step here, right? So let's talk about the first step in your life. We all have different problems, right? We're all different, unique people in the universe. There's never been 2 exact instances of us, but our life experience rhymes, right? Everyone's who's been in a relationship has had some kind of relationship struggles or difficulties. Anybody who's had to seek a job, work a job, or lost a job has employment difficulties, Anyone who had a rough childhood in any way, even if they don't think they did, like mine, if you would have asked me a few years ago, how was your childhood? I would have been like, fine, standard, typical, but then when I dig into my problems, especially the negative things and the negative self-talk I would say to myself, I would realize I wasn't echoing words that I would ever choose, that I wouldn't pull them out of my own vocabulary, right? So I was pulling that negativity out of my past experience, which comes from childhood. And here's the thing. I'm a logical man. I'm a businessman. I'm an operations man. I'm a nuts and bolts, get it done, son. Let's make some money kind of man. So this is, it's very hard for me to accept and wrap my brain around that when my feelings got hurt in kindergarten or the first grade or whatever, that, that's the reason why now, I'll call myself a clown or I'll beat myself up now, is because of things that happened to me when I was little. And, we all carry that baggage, whether we know it or not. So what I want to do with this video is turn it back around on you and really ask anyone who's thinking about pursuing a spiritual journey or wondering what higher consciousness and enlightenment is all about, kind of what's in it for you. Like, why bother? I mentioned in the first video the process sucks, so why would you want to go through it, right? Why would anyone want to go through a spiritual journey? Again, if you're not one of the Trastafarian rich kids riding around in a van showing off your awesome lifestyle for influencer likes, like, what's the point of it? Like, what do you get out of it? You become like Spider-Man, you have an extra sense, can you climb up walls? Like, you just turn into a beam of light and disappear? Like, humans search enlightenment, we search the meaning of life, but why? Why do we even do that? Like, why are we even here? Like, why do we even wake up each day? And especially, I think, for the real critical thinkers, the logical people, it's very hard. Engineers, it's going to be very hard to accept some of these things because your nuts and bolts, your numbers, your math, your equations, A plus B equals C, it's simple stuff. It's straightforward. It's mathematically provable. And like I said in the first video, the spiritual journey is inherently one that is emotive. If you're thinking out of a brain, you're thinking out of your stomach and not your head. I mean, recently scientists have talked about finding gut flora and biomes down there that are reacting to subconscious triggers and environmental situations. In other words, that gut feeling that you have isn't an imaginary thing. That's really your subconscious brain talking to you. And I know that some of you have been in situations where logically it is the right thing to do, and you've worked it out on paper a million times that this is the way it should work mathematically, probability wise. Like, this is the safest route. But in your gut, you didn't like it. In your gut, you didn't feel safe. And maybe things went okay for a while, but in the end, it came crashing down and fell apart. And in a way, very similar to what your gut warns you about in the beginning, right? And so there is a part of ourselves that we don't naturally listen to anymore, especially in modern society, because I'm trying not to be too offensive here, but it seems like society is split into two groups. The ultra religious, who are into God for the religious aspect of God. Like, this is what you do, you give this amount of money, you follow these rules, and then you get to be as racist, xenophobic, sexist as you want to be. And then the other side of people are like so atheistic and so logical that the idea, concept of God just makes them mad because, they're acting as rejectionists to group one. They're the atheists are essentially the anti-fundamentalists. You have people trying to grab people into Christianity and to grab whatever religion. And then you have the other side going, that's all nonsense. And really the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I'm going to talk about this probably in the future, like with the concept of the Godhead and such. But like, it's human arrogance to think that a hairless monkey stuck on a rock, floating through space in an infinite universe, infinite meaning anything that possibly ever could have happened has happened and has happened multiple times over. Like, you yourself aren't even a unique instance of yourself in an infinite universe or a multiverse situation. So you are in many ways just this insignificant little monkey in the middle of nothing, and yet our problems seem so big, they seem to take over the world, right? So in many ways, we see ourselves, we see the universe from us out, right? I once heard that there was 3 great blows to the human ego, the collective human ego. The first was that we figured out that Earth is not the center of the solar system, that in fact the sun is, right? So now Humans weren't this perfect being on a planet in the middle of the universe that God made and we're all special little blahs, right? No, you're just another rock floating around a star in space, right? So, I mean, in that way, it is getting very sort of atheistic and detached, right? And then secondly, Darwin figured out, hey, we're just animals. We ain't even special. We're hairless evolved monkeys. That was the second great blow to go. God didn't make us out of the dirt and blow life into us and blah, blah, blah. And then, the third great blow to humans' ego was Freud saying, yeah, not only are we animals, we're sick animals, right? So we went from being this perfect center of the universe to just being damaged monkeys floating around rock in the middle of nowhere. So the extremes of the highly religious view and the hard atheistic view are very hard to reconcile. But the truth is, in fact, something in between. If we are, as the atheists simply want to believe, just a hairless monkey on this rock, then how could our simple brains possibly conceive of God, like a true God, not God, the avatar, not like the dude who looks like Zeus with the white beard and sitting there in judgment over everyone, Jesus by his side, Mary coming in with the platter, communion wafers, or whatever the thing is that you believe in. It's not like that. Just read the Bible, like read a biblical description of an angel, and you tell me you can wrap your brain around what that would actually be like. All these eyes and the voice that's like turning stuff inside out and flames and wings and nonsense, and it's like, hey, don't worry about it, everything's cool. I don't really think it's this anthropomorphized thing like people want to believe it to be, but that is how our brains can interpret it, right? So God is actually a much more complex being, and in many ways we are God. And even the Bible and Christians would tell you, we are God, we are part of God. There's nothing in the universe that is not God. And so the way I see it personally, and I told you I'm a toe dipper, I also like the simulation theory of reality. And so I mix these metaphors a lot. And so I see God sort of like the creator of the computer program that we all live in. That computer program sort of being the simulation or the fabric of reality in this analogy, right? And all humans are part of God because the simulation itself is God. God is making God out of itself. So he's both the controller and the thing of which it is. And we ourselves are all individual instances of God. We're individual instances of the universe. We're individual peculiarities of the universe, different combinations of variables and factors jammed together in order to create a unique experience for us alone. We are not separate from the universe, and I'll talk about this later too. We are part of the universe. Just like a person isn't stuck in traffic, they are traffic. Thank you, Mitch. It's the same thing with the universe. You're not a person in the universe. That would be very lonely. You are part of the universe because you're inherently entwined in it. So, to my point of all of this, who is this for? Who am I talking to right now? I'm talking to the person who needs to start the journey. Whether you know it or not, you need to start it. How do you know you need to start the journey right now? Well, you're listening to my nonsense, and the universe would not direct you to do that unless you were seeking something, unless you needed to hear something, and hopefully this is what you needed to hear. Now, my journey is one very much of the reluctant hero, like Odysseus in the Iliad or Han Solo in Star Wars. I did not want to go on the journey. I did not. I was minding my own business. I was happy. And many of you, I wasn't happy, I was content. I was content, and I was able to lie to myself about being happy, okay? Now, when I lost my job, I snapped. And I'm sure a lot of you out there, especially the tech bros in the world, especially older ones, people in my boat right now, a lot of you are gonna have to take a collective deep breath. Because what I am seeing is bad. Like, LinkedIn is a war field. It's just recruiters trying to steal data anymore, scams, executive coaches, success coaches, people trying to sell products, and none of the jobs are real. Everything's being outsourced now. And I can see, I can feel, I know, because this was my experience, people who have worked very hard their whole lives. They were probably the smart kids in school. They probably high achievers, probably did very well in college. Again, high achievers, got the awards, went to the banquets for the smart kid awards and all that great stuff in life. Maybe they were also an athlete. Maybe they were well balanced. Maybe they had a talent. Maybe they focused in an area. Maybe they were just a dude who liked computers, found a good career, was working it, and now it's gone. Just remember, there's only one consistent in this universe, and that is change. Nothing is permanent. So you can never really dig your feet into any experience. Still, know that no job is forever. No job is forever. No job is forever. You will either die, retire, get fired, or quit. No job is forever. It will not be your forever. I know it seems like it now. And I know it seems like it. You're probably trapped if you're working in a job you hate, because that job gives you money. And in our society, you need money to survive. A lot of what I say, people are going to have their fingers in their ears for one reason and one reason only. Because you're saying to yourself, I don't care what you have to say to me right now, Ben. I need money because I got to pay rent. And I hear you. So here's my reluctant hero story of how I got really started on this the last 2 years. Like I say, when I lost my job, I decided not to lose momentum, because again, I was an ops guy, and momentum, got to keep production going. So I'm going to sit at the same desk just like I was when I was working the job, and I'm going to pretend like I'm working a job every day. I'm not going to tell my children that I lost my job, because their daddy needs to know that they're working and that stuff is stable. I was in court at the time too, and I didn't need my ex knowing that I was unemployed, because I felt that would put me in a place of weakness, and I felt that I had to protect my children. And again, that's all I will say about it, other than there's fear that was created within me when I lost my job, because I saw my value and my worth as a human being tied to that. I made good money. So I made good money, and I worked at home, and I had what I needed, and then it was gone. So I was no longer Ben Lyon, senior manager of operations at insert technology company name here. Like, I wasn't. So who was I? Now I want you to hear something from me right now, and remember this for the rest of your life. We are the stories we tell ourselves. Other people may have told you this. Understand that as the truth. We are the stories we tell ourselves. Our brains are dumb. You can lie to yourself. You can lie to yourself real easy. Because if you tell yourself something, you'll believe it. So when you look, like a lot of times in therapy, when you look back on traumatic childhood events, one of the therapeutic things they do is go, reframe this. That wasn't a failure, that was you learning something, or rewrite it as if it went differently, and how would that empower you now, right? So you really can rewrite your story, right? So what was my story? I was in a bad place. I had no more story. I was the failed musician who gave it all up to work a job, and now I lost that job, and now I've got nothing. I'm an unemployed bum at home. I'm an unemployed bum at home. Unemployed bum at home. And if you tell yourself that, and that's your story, that's who you are. So the first thing I did was I said, you're a negative person, Ben. I want you to start saying yes to things instead of no to things. So executive coaches and success coaches reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, I'm going to schedule a call with you. And I said, yes. Thought it might be a scam, but I said yes, because I said that I would say yes. And I spoke to two. The first one tried to sell me on franchises, which was okay. And I went through the experience and I saw it, and I could have done it, but at the last moment I said no, because I did not want to be beholden to a franchise. Part of what is important to me is freedom and independence. And even though I would have been not working for a boss per se, I would have been tied. I would have been tied in debt, and I would have had to follow their way of doing things. And there's no guarantee that the business would work out. So I have money I have enough to like save and take my time and breathe. But doing something like that would have blown it all on a throw of the dice that I didn't believe in. And again, logic saying, go for it. This makes sense. Do it. And they're very convincing. But my gut said no. And I couldn't reconcile it. And I couldn't reconcile that knot in my stomach. So I said no, and I walked away from it. The second guy was more doing sort of like this kind of thing. And, I appreciate the work that he did, and had me do a lot of exercises like identify what are your values, like what are the things that are important to you, like what is some of your negative self-talk, and like, now redo it otherwise. And it's a dangerous activity, because I think if you are in a good enough place, sure, that kind of coaching can be fine. I wasn't, and so that like really triggered a mental health crisis in me, because I realized through those value exercises, and I hope you never have to experience this in your life, that I was 48 years old at the time, and I didn't know what are your values, what do you care about. And don't say money. Money is a means to an end. It's so you can buy time for freedom. It's so that you can buy things to enjoy. It's so that you can eat good food. It's so you can buy whatever it is that you enjoy. It's a means to an end. Money is not an end in itself. So don't say money. Like, what's important to you? Family, loyalty, like, what is it, right? And so I'm going through these exercises, and it's all touchy-feely. And I'm an operations guy, man. Numbers, manufacture, go, go, go. Spreadsheets, spreadsheets, spreadsheets. Compliance, invoices, timesheets. That's what I could understand, hard and tangible, right? And now I'm like, okay, I need a job. I need it ASAP. I need to do this. And people are going, yo. No. What you need to do is slow down and figure out who you are. And that was the hardest thing for me in the world. The hardest thing, because you know what? And I've said this a million times. Okay, I feel better about myself. Where's the money? Where's the money? And if you get too focused up on that end result, you will do nothing. And I'll talk a little bit about that more, but I'm kind of coming to the end of this. So what I'm saying is, I understand your skepticism, because I was a very skeptical guy. I understand that if you're in a desperate situation, especially when money is involved, you're going to be very results oriented, and you're going to want to get to the end of the process, and you just want to cut to the chase and figure out what's the problem, what's my goal, where do I need to be, and how's it done. Tell me I need to get to work tomorrow, and it's just not going to work that way. And the funny thing about life is, if you embrace the journey, it will give you the space to have it. It does. Try not to focus too much on what you don't have. Focus on where you're going. Focus not on the problems, but on the solutions. And put yourself in the future mentally at all times. And think about where you want to be. And then tell yourself the story of how you got there. Again, that's going to mentally start to bring you in the right direction. But know that the universe is this great interconnected thing of which we are a part. We are not separate. And in the great chain of causality, like billiard balls slamming across the table, like, we're in it. And most people's ego and desire for things in this world that are dictated by society or parents or expectations that actually don't even come from within them. In trying to meet those goals and targets, we get very lost, and we lose ourselves in the process. And when your time is ready, and I tend to find this happens later in life. I think this is what the whole midlife crisis is. I think life waits till you're about 40 and says, okay, well, you've lived enough. Now we're going to jam all that up and take everything that you've learned to date and just blow out your mind and say, hey, you've only got half your life left. Based on what you've learned so far, what do you do with the rest of it? Now, you lost that job you hated. Let me just ask you one last question before I get going, because I know I'm rambling and I'm at the end of this. But this might bring it home. Do you want the same damn job again? Then just go out and get that job. Apply for it. Find it. Get it. You know what? Make your own company. Yeah, everyone's losing their jobs due to AI. Fine. Use AI. Use the tool, right? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You find the best 5 devs you know who are also unemployed. You pool your resources. You start your own company. You put them out of business. And if that's your path, that's your path. Now go for it and get it done. Stop wasting time. But if you're like, man, I can't imagine doing that one more day. I just can't. I just can't do it. I suffer, and I only do it for my family. I only do it because this is what I have to do. I only do it because that's life, and it sucks, and I hate it. Well, now it's time for you to take some space, to take a breath and breathe. Practically, if you just lost your job, get unemployment, especially if they didn't fire you for an articulable reason. Take that money, take the time. It's okay for self-care. I know, but it's okay for self-care. I know there's no money coming in. I know that everyone's afraid. When you're on an airplane and you lose oxygen and the mask drop, you put it on your face before you put it on your kids. Because if you can't fix yourself, you're not going to fix the other people in your household who are relying on you, okay? So the self-care is okay. It is important, and you need to take the breath. You need to do the work. You need to experience the pain so that you can understand you. And in understanding you, you will come to a place of alignment with the universe where you'll just know what your next step is. And it's not always easy. Here I am. Am I making any money right now? Not a dime. Is anyone listening to me talk right now? No. Am I doing this for any reason whatsoever? No. Could this go out into the universe and no one ever hear it again? Yeah. And you know what? Most likely that is the case. But do I care? No. Why? Because this is an infinite amount more creative content than I made 2 days ago. And you know what? I get to share this with you, dear listener. So with that, I think I'll leave it. Have a great day. I'll be back in a day or two, and I think of something else to talk about. And hopefully I'll fix the branding on my page. I know it's terrible, but I don't care. I'm moving forward. I'm iterating. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy your journey.